Hey mages, welcome to today's video. Today I'm looking at the top 10 cards that I think could be really good for standard constructed from the new set Murders at Karlov Manor. Now before we go into it, these are my personal choices, the cards that I think will impact standard and maybe see some play in some really good constructed decks in the meta. If there's any cards that you think will be really good as well, make sure to put them down in the comments as well. Let everyone know what decks you think they'll be in and how good some of the cards you think I may have missed. But there's a lot of cards. Just to stick these to top 10 was very hard. I could probably quite easily do a top 20, but I wanted to keep it to top 10. So I'm going to do a few honourable mentions first that aren't in my top 10 list. First one is the most expensive card in the set that you can pull in paper, which is Delny Streetwise Lookout, the 2/2 Human Scout. Creature you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures power 3 or greater, and then has a good ability as well, an extra triggering ability when cards come into play as long as their power is 2 or less as well. Now I do think with standard, especially in best of one, it's a quite fast format. This could be a little bit slow to get online, but in other formats, Commander or anything like that, I think it's going to be really good. But I still think it possibly could see a bit of standard play. But for me personally, I think it's better in maybe just other formats as well. Massacre Girl, Gnome Killer as well. I really do like this card, and I will be trying it in mono black. But that 4-spot Shieldred is just so good. Will it take the space of something like that? It might be able to play alongside that, but for me the 4-drop, especially in those sort of decks, is Shieldred, and this could be hard to sort of take the place and see it play in a lot of decks. But I won't be surprised to see if it does. Other honourable mention is Leyline of the Guild Pack that I think could be seen in the 5-colour ramp decks. If it's in the open hand, beginning of the game, put it on the battlefield. So you're going to need 4 of these in there, like the Leylines, potentially to get it in there. But the ability to have your lands control, make them every basic land type, is very good for that deck. Each non-land permanent you control is all colours as well. But I think that possibly could see a bit of play as well. So now we're going to go on to the top 10, but if I could ask you, if you enjoyed the video, please smash that like. It helps push the video out to other people who don't know about the channel. Subscribing, if you're new, really does help. We're pushing closer to 16,000 subscribers now, so close, not many away, and I'm going to do a giveaway then as well. If you've been watching for a while, you want to go that extra further, I don't shout, I'm a patron down below. If you can go and support me, that'd be much appreciated. But let's get on to the top 10. So coming at top 10 for me is the coolest uncommon in the set. It's Crime Novelist, 3 mana, 1/3. I think this can see playing a bit of standard, certainly other formats without a doubt, but I think this is a really good, the 1/3 stats is a great blocker. Even at 3 mana, it's the ability that it does. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on Crime Novelist and add 1 red mana. If you've got treasures on the field, you sack your treasure, you're going to get 2 mana straight away. Multiple treasures, you can do this. And while doing that, you're building up the Novelist. It adds counters, and it's not just to end of turn, so it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And I think for an uncommon, it's extremely powerful. 3 mana, yeah, might be, too highly costed for standard potentially, but I still think it's going to be in some kind of rampy deck. And I really do like Crime Novelist. Let me know what you think about it. I think it is easily the best uncommon in the set for me. And yeah, it's going to see some play. Coming at number 9 is Tomic Wilder of Law. I like this because it's a 3 mana card. Now, it is a mythic. It's a 2/4 legendary creature. The affinity for Planeswalkers could be seen in a Planeswalker deck in those colours. There's some really good walkers in those colours. The spells cost 1 less to cast for each Planeswalker control, which is affinity for Planeswalkers. It has flying, vigilance, and what I like about it is against the aggro decks, whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you or Planeswalkers you control, they lose 3 life, and we get to draw a card as well. Now, with the 2/4 stats as well, we can still, obviously, Vigilance attack in. The 4 gets away of Lightning Strike, cut down, cards like that. So there's a bit of the early removal that it can dodge. And it's just a really good blocker as well for those going against the mono red, the mono white. And they're going to maybe have to attack in. Red likes to attack in with multiple creatures. Mono white likes to attack in. So they're going to get, the 3 life at the start is not going to affect them too much, but you will be able to potentially draw that card as well and then find your answer. So I think it's a good stalling card for those type of decks that do want to do that and not play so much of the aggro decks. Coming in at number 8 is Doorkeeper Thrall. 1/2 flash flying. For me, I like playing mono white control in standard. It is a deck in standard as well, a bit lower on the meta, but this is really cool. Artifacts and creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger, so you can slow those ETP decks down. It's only 2 mana as well, so it could be flashed in early doors, stopping any kinds of interaction. And it's good that it doesn't just do, it's artifacts and creatures, which is a really nice effect. Has flying as well, so has evasion, but I really do like the 2 mana on this. And I think in certain types of decks, the controlling types of decks, maybe blue-white control, maybe it'd be a sideboard in best of 3 for that. But I think in best of 1, I will be trying this out in the mono-white control builds. Coming in at number 7 is a great uncommon as well. It's No More Lies. Now, this was further up than our original common in coming in at number 10, just because I think it's going to see a lot more play than that. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3 for 2 mana. Now, it is Azorius colours, so you're going to need, your land perfect for that for turn 2. But if the spell is countered this way, it gets to exile as well. There's going to be graveyard shenanigans with the new evidence and everything like that going on. And graveyards, putting something in exile is going to be a lot better. Not many people, you can stop a really good turn 3 play with this. They're not going to have the 3 mana. And late game, even so, it's still going to be people have more lands to play their spells. The 3 instead of the 2 in this does make it quite a bit better. People will be tapping out for those big dinosaurs and everything like that. And I think this is definitely coming in as a 4 of in all of the control decks that want to play it. Coming in at number 6 is Case of the Stash Skeleton. Now, if you're a follower of the channel, you know I made a skeleton deck, so this will definitely be going into the upgraded version. I think it's a really good card. When the case enters the battlefield, you create a 2/1 black skeleton token with Suspect, so it has menace and can't block. Now, to solve this, you need to control no suspected skeletons. Quite easily, we have sack effects, everything like that. But if it is unsolved, at the beginning of your end step, you get to sacrifice this case and search your library for a card and put it into your hand. Activate only as a sorcery, but to be able to go and tutor another card, and it's literally a card, it's not, it's not specifying what it is. This for me is a super powerful effect. Getting this down turn 2 if you can, and then you controlling none of those suspected skeletons, and then you're going to tutor for the card that you need. I think this is a really, really powerful card. Great card, and it's a rare as well, which makes it easier to craft if you're on an arena for sure. Not a mythic, but I think this, for what it does for that soul feature, makes it good, and certainly is going to have to see play in standard. Coming at number 5 is Connecting the Dots, and I've already tested this in mono red, and for me it fits in the place. Now I took out Chandra for me for this, and it saved me in some games. I got down to no cards in hand, and I had 5 cards in exile. I managed to sack it, get the 5 cards back in hand, and it gave me Lightning Strike and another, I think it was another kill spell as well, and I managed to finish my opponent. So for me it works really well. Whenever a creature you control attacks, exile the top card. Now in decks like mono red, I was running 20 creatures with the 1 mana enchantment as well that turns into a creature, so technically 24 creatures, and it was working really, really well. Opponent didn't have the ability to kill my enchantment, so when I did run out of hand, I discarded my hand, which was absolutely nothing in hand, and then refilled it. I think this is really good for mono red. Some people think it might be a little bit too slow, but I've tested it. I run 3 in the deck, not over a large amount of games, but for me, instantly I thought, yeah, this was really good. I was getting down my creatures attacking. I actually played this turn 3 when I had a couple of creatures on the field, attacking with haste and then automatically getting the cards in there. I think this is a really cool card, and definitely if you play mono red, give this one a try. Coming at number 4 is Intrude on the Mind. One of my favourite cards from the set, because I'm a blue mage. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles and put that pile into your hand and the other in the graveyard. You get to create a 0/0 colours Doctor Artifact token with flying, and then put a 1/1 counter in for each card that was put into your graveyard this way. I think that's just a really cool effect. Instant speeds. Now, This is like fact or fiction, but 1 extra mana, but you get that creature. So I think blue mages will go love this. Control mages are going to like this. Maybe even just as a couple of in there. The ability to potentially get a creature, get you a blocker, has flying, so it could even, be in there. So it's going to potentially win you the game once you've controlled the board enough. But I think this is nice, revealing the top 5 cards. Opponent is obviously going to get cards that some cards you are going to get. They might be a 4-1 split, 3-2 split. You just never know. Hopefully you don't pull the 5 lands. But if you do, you chuck them in the graveyard, then you make, put more 1-1 counters potentially of that into there if you can. They're never going to give you the 5 cards because they know the effect on the card. But I think this is a very sweet card, cool mythic, and it's going to see some play in some control decks for sure. On to the top 3 now, and War Leader's Call for me makes it into the top 3, just because I think Boros Aggro is a very popular deck, any type of aggro deck, and if you're playing red or white aggro, mixing the two to have this in there. 3 mana creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So playing that kind of Convoke deck that was really popular, the Boros Convoke deck, slamming all of those tokens into play and then doing lots of damage. It's not even legendary, so you can have multiples of these on the field potentially and then doing the double damage. It's a winning card on the field just by playing tokens and not even having to attack. You just need to get them onto the field under your control and 1 damage. I think it's a really strong card, probably underrated a bit. 3 mana might seem a lot to fit in there, but you're not playing those X mana token spells till later on in the game, so you wanted to get the most value out of it. You could literally just drop them, play them, and then you don't have to worry about wraps. You just drop them in and doing damage. I feel like War Leader's Call is going to see play, and I'm going to craft these and have some fun with this card. On to the next card. I think Mono Green is going to take control again, potentially. Could it happen? Probably not, but I still think Archdruid's Charm. There's going to be a Mono Green deck out there. Instant speed ramp. Choose one of them. Search library for a creature or land card and reveal it. Put it onto the battlefield. Tapped if it's a land card. Otherwise, put it into your hand. 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It deals damage. It does fight tactics kind of thing. And then exiling target artifact enchantment. With the triple green, it's probably going to have to be in mono green potentially. But there's a lot, some real cool cards in mono green, and this just adds a bit of extra power for me. Certainly, we'll see play in other formats without a doubt. But I think this is going to be a popular card in Standard and really could see a revival, certainly at the start of this new set for mono green. Let me know if you're going to build mono green. Put some deck lists down below and maybe I can play them on stream as well or play them in a video. I would really like to see this. I think I pulled a couple on Arena, so we might be able to get some gameplay of a mono green deck soon, which would be good to see and see how good the charm really is in Standard. We go on to the number 1 card for me now, and it's Anzragis, the Mle God. An 8/4 beta. It's just massive for 4 mana. When the Mle God becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there is an additional combat phase. Now, it's going to have to be removed. Obviously, stays out of some of the removal in Standard. But this 4 mana, we know that Gruul Aggro is a deck without a doubt. You're going to have to block this. Then you're going to have to take, potentially you'll be killing the blockers with it as well. The 4 mana coming down. If it had haste, it would be mental, but there's potentially ways to give it haste. I'm not sure in Standard about that. Don't quote me on that. But then there's another ability of paying 7, which is a lot, but it must be blocked each combat. So good for a late game potentially where they have to block it, but with these type of decks, you're winning early. So having this down for 4 mana is nice. I think if it was 5, it would probably be maybe a little bit unplayable in Standard, but the 4 mana makes it playable, I think, just about. 8/4 coming in, additional combat phases in Gruul. You're probably going to be dead with those extra combat phases. And yeah, it's a Mle God, so it has to be number 1, literally just for that as well. So there's my top 10 cards that I think will be really good in Standard, impact in Standard. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to know your thoughts on some of these cards. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, just, let me know down below and put any cards that you think that would be really good in Standard that are going to be in play in decks. I'd love to know. Thanks for watching the video today. You lot take care, and I will see you on the next one.